Hi guys, Michael Bell here. Today's the 16th of December. It's actually my day off, so I've just been doing some reflecting. We're coming to the end of the year, amazingly. It's been a while since I did like a face-to-face kind of video blog with you guys, so I wanted to kind of show my face and say hello, and that's what we're doing today. So I kind of, it's been a year, almost a year, New Year's Eve last year, I did a video showing you kind of my setup and a little bit of where I work. I can't believe that was a year ago, but it was. So I just wanted to do like a roundup of what's been happening this year and kind of reflect on some things I've learned, some things I can improve on, some things that kind of I think might help anybody else in terms of artists in general. You know, this doesn't always have to be about composers and music. Obviously, we're talking about it from that point of view, but I think a lot of these things kind of transduce, if you like, into into other areas. So firstly, I'd set myself like a personal goal to hit 250 YouTube subscribers by the close of play 2016. And as of this morning when I woke up, I've hit 272. So thank you so much guys for kind of all the support, hitting that button and getting involved in the conversation kind of all over social media. Social media is something I'm going to come on to later in the video because I've got some stuff to say about that. But what I basically wanted to do was just go through and look at what I've done this year, almost like a roundup. I think it's good for anyone to do that, if be it to your personal life or your professional life, whatever. It's just good to have a roundup and reflect on what you've achieved, what you haven't, and push you through, you know, to the next year. You know, we're only here once, guys, so get your stuff together is what I suppose I'm trying to say. I was doing my discography last night on my website. My website got a little neglected because it does. You know, I don't mind a bit of web design, but it's not something that it drives me slightly nuts at times. And I realised that over the course of this year, I've put out 2 albums, an EP and 2 singles, which for me is quite a big achievement. Obviously, the first album, which I did do a blog, I've done a blog on most of these releases through the year, but you know, Awakening the Early Scores wasn't really composed this year. That was content from kind of 2012 through to the end of 2015. Just anything I felt was, you know, a hit picture, be it back at uni, it was a student film, or it got onto something, or I thought it was of worth. You know, I wanted to release it to kind of almost mark personally, you know, these are my compositions that got me going, so hence I called it Awakening the Early Scores. That was followed quickly by Lurking in the Delta Waves, my EP, which is basically the sound score to the Silver Lining Pictures produced YouTube documentary on the gangster Frankie Fraser, which if you look down is just about to hit 200,000 views, which I'm really pleased about. So I released that a year ago, almost a year ago, about 11 months ago, to celebrate it hitting 100,000 views. We've surpassed almost another 100,000 in another year, so that's really cool. So that's like a 13-minute kind of dark ambient soundscape, kind of spacey, sleep Delta Waves type music, hence it's called Lurking in the Delta Waves. Then I released The Raging of the Falcons, which was a single, which is basically the track for the video I did for you guys, looking at composing action music. So that's a really cool track, check it out. Then Blanket. So Blanket is kind of my highlight of the year. So that's a short film that's gone to the festivals kind of worldwide. It was my first kind of soundtrack album, if you like, that's all, you know, I had to make all the cue names and tie it all together and release it. I was really, really proud of it. And I was nominated for Best Score at the Views of the World Film and Music Festival in Montreal, Canada. So I didn't win. I can't remember the guy who did now, but the score was awesome. I'm going to pop his name in the comments for you guys to check out, which is going to lead me on as well to the latter part of this video on reflection. But that nomination just meant the world to me. That was a really happy day for me. I've still got to frame my certificate, but you know, they sent that down to me. But that was really cool. So really, really pleased with that. And then I just completed towards the end of this year another short. It's more of a docu-short, so it's a documentary type short film called One Day, which is focused around mental health. And I was really passionate to get involved with that project. I don't think mental health is spoken about enough. And I think almost everyone at some point in their life will struggle with anxiety or something in there or whatever. So I was really pleased to be a part of that. That's about to hit YouTube. I got confirmation this morning that you know, it's all going ahead. It's just got some final cuts to do, and that's going to go up hopefully before the end of this year. So you know, as a whole, that is really cool. 2 singles, an EP, and 2 albums. Really, really pleased with that. Obviously, the YouTube stuff hitting over the 250 for me was wicked. I'm going to set another goal right now of 750 for this time next year. so we're kind of we're antsing it up a little. But it's been really useful for me. I don't like sitting in here on my own, not communicating with people. So YouTube's been a great way for me to reach out to others who are starting to compose or are composing, or whatever that they're kind of doing, and having conversations. On the reflection side of things this year, there's a couple of things I want to kind of mention that I think is important for me. Firstly is that be careful what you say in terms of projects. So I get quite excited, if obviously if there's an NDA in place where I can't talk about something, then I can't talk about it and I won't talk about it. But if there's kind of literature gone out which is confirming you for, say, a budding project or you're pitching for a project, I get all excited and go and do a video on it and start talking about it. And it kind of, when you go back and look through your videos and you've got one from, say, May where you were talking about a specific project and then it kind of hasn't happened, or it's not yet been funded, or it even got cancelled, or whatever it might be, you look a bit silly and it kind of, there's no point. So what I would say for myself and what I would advise others to do, sure, if you're crowdfunding a project and you need support, shout about it, go for it. But if it's kind of just like an idea a director said to you, or there's a small little pitch and there's been like a tiny trailer but nothing's really going on with it, just don't say anything about it. It just saves you a little bit of like looking like an idiot. So you won't hear much from me in terms of things that are kind of being spoken about. It's only when they're actually happening, they're being funded, or we're crowdfunding something, or something's going on, that I'm going to kind of shout about it. The second thing I was going to talk about was this whole social media thing. So one thing I noticed is that while I do listen to scores, I listen to music all day whenever I can, essentially. We kind of get into this bubble of we've got our own little personal place where we post. Namely, I'm talking about Facebook here. Facebook for me is becoming a little bit opinionated in a way, and this isn't supposed to be a bash on which social platform is better. But it made me think, we push our music out, or we do a painting and we push our painting out, or someone makes a trailer and you push your trailer out. And then sometimes the conversation doesn't flow back round to, say, someone else's composition or someone else's picture or someone else's painting. And I've been guilty of it myself, where, all of a sudden I thought, well, hang on, this week I've perhaps listened to 10 cues of my fellow friends and fellow composers. Why is that? I think I should, instead of listening to Junkie XL or Hans Zimmer, John Williams all day, maybe we should try and focus on our other budding composers, or other people that we know, or people we like, and people we're trying to support. Give a like, give a comment, give a share, and that's something that I'm going to try and be doing moving forward into the next year, is actually spending time each day listening to other people's music, perhaps giving some feedback. I certainly appreciate it when I get it, and I think it would help extend that conversation almost outside of your own social group or your own community, and build some bridges elsewhere. That's what this social media, isn't it? Instagram I'm really liking, since they brought the extended video feature where you can go beyond a minute. I love seeing people's kind of tracks in session or tracks in progress. So just hitting the phone and go, I do it, it's great. And you get some comments and it spurs you on, and it's a really good thing to do. I've been really getting involved with that. The whole kind of your daily story is cool. I know they nicked that a bit from Snapchat, but it just seems a little more, liking, commenting, sending direct messages. It seems a little more interactive and a little easier to use in a way, less wordy, more visual, which I think people, if you only just got a minute, you're commuting or you're on break, quick minute of someone's cue and, oh, good luck, man, that sounds great, keep going, maybe some more horns. It's easier to communicate, I feel, than some long Facebook post, or even tweets can get a little weird. Twitter and Instagram are my two, so go and find me, MW Music on both. If you go to michaelwbell.co.uk, you'll find all the links to this stuff. So, add me on there, I'll add you back, and we'll have a chat. That's what I want to do. That's why I'm here. So that's another thing that I wanted to talk about, was kind of expanding that social element of things. Another thing, which is a big one probably for most people if you're in the creative world or you're trying to get going in terms of a career as a creative in whatever capacity, is balancing the day job and balancing your creative work. Really as creatives, we're supposed to create. That's our purpose. That's why we're here. And I think that while your day job has to be interesting and you have to, you're there, you've got to do it, and perhaps your creative work's going a little like this and you're getting a big lot of money, then not a lot, or then none, or, I certainly get that at the moment, and I still need to work. Try to choose something that's not going to completely suck up your entire life to the point where you're not really creating, which is something that's happened to me to the latter part of this year, where, I was just writing tired, So making silly mistakes, perhaps the mixes were sounding tired, they weren't as bright, you know, and I just wasn't as producing what I felt was my best towards as we were getting towards the end of the year. So it was taking me a long time to create something I was happy with, and that was essentially I was putting too much time into the day job, which I've now changed. So I've just changed day job. I'm going to be around a lot more now. Well, I'm going to be here in the day, so there's going to be a lot better for me. Opens doors to meet clients, go for meetings, you know, get on the phone, do my YouTube vids, catch up with my comments, and compose music with a fresher brain from the morning on, you know, as opposed to coming in tired and then trying to work, or, you know, running out the door and trying to get changed to meet someone in Central, or whatever you're doing, you know, where you're perhaps not at your best. So definitely try and balance your day job, you know. Sleep. I don't sleep much, which I'm trying to work on, you know. You've got to have that downtime as well, you know, see your friends, see your family. You know, the earlier part of this year I was just flat out, which was great because I got places in terms of my nominations for Blanket, and we got things happening, but I wasn't really seeing people, which, you know, that has implications of its own. So it's a big balancing act, I think, this whole thing. It takes a lot of time trying to get into any creative work. A lot of us still unfortunately have to work to sustain ourselves. You got to buy food, you got to live. So try and balance things. Try not to take too much of a pressured job like I did, and find something that you like that doesn't tax your brain too much, but is still interesting or relevant. So those are kind of my wrap up things. You know, another thing I found interesting from doing the whole YouTube thing, and anyone's considering doing like a vlog, do it, because it gives you the opportunity to go back and review what you were saying in your thought process at that time. So, you know, last year I was talking about the guitar, and I just bought an acoustic guitar, and I was talking about my pedal, that I've got this Boss GTA pedal that I've barely used, and I wanted to muck around with some effects and things like that. That basically hasn't happened this year, you know, mainly, as I've explained, with time, and just the films I was doing were more on the melancholic subject. You know, they required more pianos and strings and flutes, and it didn't really need guitars, really. I mean, obviously you can apply guitars in a melancholy situation, of course, but the films just didn't need it, so they didn't get used. You know, moving forward next year, again, I'm not going to talk too much because there's some stuff I'm really excited about, but I want to see how it's going to pan out. But I'm definitely going to be continuing my album. I've got some cues that I've started, but we've got another album coming for Library, I'm hoping to get out to the States to go onto TV. So that'll be interesting because I can run through those tracks with you guys. There's no real NDAs with that. I can literally show you what I'm doing, talk you through the libraries like we were doing, and exchange comments and all those sorts of things. So for me, this year has been great. You know, it's been a big learning curve. You know, I think if you get to the end of the year and you sit there and you think I haven't learned anything this year, you're doing something wrong. You know, life's about learning and fixing mistakes. You're only here once, so, you know, get it right and learn from what you did wrong, what you could do better, and make a better you for the next year. That's my philosophical bit for you there, guys. So you know, once again, I'm not going to ramble on too much. You know, I'll put cards up to previous videos if you want to hear more about what I've been talking about in terms of Blanket, you know, Raging the Falcons, One Day, whatever that I've been putting out. I will put the link to One Day once it's released. I'm just waiting on that link from the guys who are currently just compiling it. So you can see that film, and I hope you share it, and we get some, you know, we get that moving. And please continue to follow, continue to subscribe, continue to chat. Send me some stuff, send me some music, we'll have a chat about it. And yeah, if I don't see you again, have a great Christmas and a great New Year, guys. And I will see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.